Hi, let's start with the part 3 of this multi-part video series. In this series, we are covering the AWS Solution Architect Associate Real Exam questions. A lot of questions you will see in your exam, uh, which will be same or similar in nature. Now, no matter how much you prepare, there will be few questions, approximately 7 to 8, which will be relatively new. But if you are going through these concepts that I'm explaining in this video, it will be easy for you to answer in the exam. Like I explained in my previous videos, I take the question and then I decode the options. I identify the problem statements, decode the options, and we cover the concepts for each option. So even if you have not studied beforehand, but looking at these concepts for each option, you would be able to understand how we are arriving at the right option. Now, you should definitely try to appear for this exam, solution architect, because if you see in the industry, just doing the cloud practitioner exam is not sufficient. If you don't have solution architect, or if you are in a data field, if you don't have data specialty or security specialty in the security field, then industries will not give you a lot of weightage. The first certification, that is AWS Cloud Practitioner, and similarly in the Azure world, the Azure Foundation. These are basic certifications. Uh, in order to get a job with those basic certifications, it's almost impossible. You have to elevate and get into an architect level certification or a specialty certification. Now let's jump into the questions. So I'm starting from question 21. For questions 1 to 20, please go through the part 1 and part 2 of this video series. Now this is the question. Please pause the video and go through the question in depth. Okay, so now I assume you have gone through this question in depth. So what the question is saying is simple. There is a company's website. Uh, there are some reports on that website, and you need a global solution for this website, which is cost effective, and you should ensure that response time is fast. So if you see here, it should be cost effective. You should have a fast response time, and you should limit the provisioning of infrastructures, because if you limit that, then only your cost will be low. Now let's go to the question and the options here. So if you see the options, let me first cover B, C, and D, because A is the correct answer. But let's first cover B, C, and D. Now, what is happening is you have a downloadable performance reports. These are files, and you never store the files in a database. So this B is wrong, because DynamoDB is a database. It's a NoSQL database, and you would not store a file, a downloadable historical performance report file, in a database. So B is wrong. Now if you see C, similarly, uh, for files, you should put it in S3, not EC2. See, EC2, ultimately what happens is, beneath EC2 there is EBS. EBS, uh, if you store files there, it is not a cost optimized solution. It's not a cost effective solution. The question is asking you to be cost effective. So C is wrong. Now D, Route 53. So this is not fitting this problem statement. because Route 53 is just like your GoDaddy.com. So GoDaddy, what it does is, if you want to create your own website, you can register it in GoDaddy. Similar to that, Amazon has Route 53. So uh, D is not fitting the bill. Now A is the right answer. Reason for that is, you see, you have downloadable files. Reports are files actually. So you can put it in a S3 object store. S3 is cheap, cost effective. Uh, it limits the provisioning of infrastructure, and it will give you fast response time. So if you know S3, you will actually put this in a standard layer, so where frequently accessed files are kept. And if you put in the standard layer or the standard tier, then you will get a very fast response time. And CloudFront will also help you give a fast response time, because CloudFront will cache the data. So we had seen in one of the examples, see, for example, Netflix. Okay, um, if you have the video in Sweden and if you want to see that video in Europe, then if you have CloudFront, it will cache, and it is fast because it does not use internet. It uses the global data centers of AWS. So CloudFront is also helping you give a fastest response time, and it is CloudFront is cost effective because if you are reading from cache, that is cheaper than reading from S3. So A is our final answer. Let's see question number 22. So this is a question. You may pause this video here and read the question. This is a long question. So in a nutshell, this question says, the client has a website. It has static and dynamic contents. Dynamic contents is in MySQL. Static content is in EC2. Now you have started selling in Europe. You want to make this accessible to international users. What to do? So these are the options. Let's scan through the options. First one says host entire website on S3. Uh, this will not work because you see there is a dynamic content here which is in MySQL. If you remove that and put it on S3, then it will not work because the dynamic content is lost. Everything becomes static now. So you have to keep the requirements the same. So A is wrong. Now B says use S3 to host static images. So this whatever static content is there, put that on S3. That means that dynamic content they are leaving it on MySQL database, which is fine, and static content they are putting on S3, which is fine. And then they will put CloudFront for caching, so that will improve your browsing experience. So B is right. It meets all the criteria, but let's still scan C and D. C says put more EC2 instances for the static content, but if you put more EC2, so it will increase the cost, and the question says most cost effective. So option C is not cost effective, and option D, it says you deploy this website in both Europe and Australia. So what will happen is, from a performance point, it is fine. People in Europe will have faster access. People in Australia will have faster access. but it will not be cost effective compared to this option B. It will have higher costs. Our final answer is option B. Question 23. So this is the question. You may read it by pausing this video. So now if you have read it, uh, this question is basically saying that your production application is very slow, and the root cause for it is business reporting users. So whenever reports are run, your CPU and memory are utilized. So what they want to do is they are saying business reporting users must be able to generate reports without affecting application performance. So how to do that? So basically it is asking for segregation of duties, split the duties. How to split the duties? You create a read replica, a separate database which the business reports will use. An RDS primary database will be used by the application for writes or website reads. Let's scan through the options. First one says we increase the size of RDS instance. It will not work in this case because the it is not exceeding more than 60%. If it was utilizing up to 90% or 95%, we could have told let's increase the size of RDS. So this less than 60% is not a business case to increase the size of RDS instance. So A is wrong. B says create a read replica and connect the application to it. So this does not make sense. You for first part makes sense. Create a read replica, but if you connect the entire application, see the entire application reads are not causing this problem. The reports are causing this problem. Business reporting. So option D, where you connect the business reports to it, makes sense because if you use option B, then even any reads coming from the application or website, any reads other than the reports, will also be going to read replica, and that is not the intention here. Now, C says you enable multiple AZ on RDS instance. So if you know a multi-AZ deployment is a solution for disaster. If one AZ goes down, you still have another AZ, and you can define RPO and RTO, and by when the other AZE will be up or will be connected to the application, etc. So this is wrong. Our answer would be option D, final answer. And this is how option D will look like. You will have one RDS which is will be connected to an application. So the application read and writes will happen from this primary database, and then we'll have a read replica. All business reports will be pointing to the read replica. So you are segregating the duties, you are creating a division. You are telling business reports go to your database, telling the application rewrites you access your database. So that way when you are running the reports, the RDS performance is not impacted because you are reading it from the read replica. So what was happening is if you connect this here, so when the reports are running, the application will slow down. So what you are doing is you are telling this guy to connect to the read replica so that the application will never be slow because of these reports. Let's see question number 24. So this is the question. Please pause and read it. So I assume you have read it now. So what's happening here is uh, there is a document management application which runs on Windows and it is in premises. So what is happening is you want to reduce the on-premises data footprint and minimize storage costs. On-premises storage. You want to reduce that storage cost. So what will you do? So in this case, let's scan the options. So this, um, so you want to just move the storage to AWS, but it will be a hybrid. Your uh, application will be still on premises. You just want to move the storage to AWS. Whenever you think of hybrid, it is storage gateway. So for storage gateway, we have two options, A and C. First, let's nullify B and D. B is Elastic File System. This is for Linux based systems. Here we have a Windows server. This will not work. And EBS block store is not a file storage system. It is a block store, so it will not work. This leaves us with A and C. Since we are talking about files here, uh, and this will be put on S3 on AWS. So the option should be file gateway. So I would request you to Google and see the difference between file gateway and volume gateway here. That will help you understand why we chose file gateway. So A is our final answer. So let's see question number 25. So this is your question. Please read it. You may pause the video if you need more time to read. So now I assume you have read this question. So this question is saying that a file server needs to be migrated and it is following the SMB protocol. So whenever we think about SMB, it is Windows based. SMB is always Windows based, and FSX is the storage which will help you with the SMB. So in the set of options, if you see, we are talking about file server is the first workload to manage. You want a file server here. In this, FSX is the only file server. EBS is a block store, not a file server. EC2 is a compute, and EC2 is connected to EBS. And S3 is the object store, not a file store. In this set of options, only option C is the file store. Hence, we will go with option C as our final answer. Please subscribe to my channel. This video is part 3 of a multi-part series. I'll be posting around 15 videos, and these videos will highly boost your chances to pass the certification exam. If you like my videos, please hit like. I'll catch up in the part 4 of this video series. I'm signing off for now.